Welcome to a Sweet Savor Bible School. Thank you for watching. My name is James Reinarz, and this is a clip from a Zoom class I taught recently on the history of Christian hymns, with a focus on singing devotionally. There were several parts to the class, but these clips are just of the lecture portion. More information can be found in the description.
How sweet the name of Jesus sounds.
So I just want you to think, imagine if every Sunday, if it's not lagging for you too much, this is what the music would be like. This is what's called Gregorian chant, right? This is what a typical kind of ancient church service would sound like for about 1,000 years. Okay, for who was this the first time hearing that kind of music, Gregorian chant? Yeah, I got some. Well, we're not going to be studying Gregorian chant. We're kind of celebrating change. That's what this class is about. And I just want you to think about what that going to a Sunday morning where that is the aesthetic, the sound. I think it's obviously beautiful, but did anybody understand what they were saying? No, it was in Latin, and it was very slow, and it was probably a psalm, right? So we'll talk more about that, but that's the environment that all the hymns that we appreciate today we're coming out of, and we'll talk a lot more about that soon. Why this class? Why are we doing a class on hymns, especially with history and personal devotions in view? Well, I think it addresses two kind of common problems. One problem, and I don't know who it applies to, these are definitely generalisms. Some people only sing contemporary Christian music, and I have nothing against contemporary Christian music, but there's other aspects, other values to bring into the mix for a healthy and a deep Christian growth. So some people only know what is on the radio right now. And secondly, some people only sing during meetings, during gatherings, during services. And throughout history, and as super relevantly to right now, we should have a personal life coming to the Lord using song. So that's what we want to kind of promote in this class. We have 10 minutes to get through 1,500 years of church history. The goal of this class is to prepare us for the outbreak of hymn singing and congregational hymn singing in England in the 1700s through Isaac Watts. That's next week. But to appreciate how special of a change hymn singing brought through Isaac Watts is, we have to see the contrast. We have to see what happened over 1,500 years. Buckle your seatbelts. We'll do a little crash course. From what we know from the very beginning of Christianity, Christians were a singing people. Many of the early Christians, right, were Jews, and the Jews were a singing people. They have a whole hymnal in the Old Testament. It's called the Psalms. So they had lots of songs just written right into the thing. So those Christians would have continued their Jewish habit of singing, but we also see not just psalms, we see new songs, even in the Bible. If you look at Philippians chapter 2, Colossians in chapter 1, there's some in the Timothy letters. These are poetry, but they're not from the Old Testament. And many people look at those and go, wow, these are probably fragments of things they can be sung, because the line between poetry and songs, all it needs is a tune. Poetry quickly can turn into a song. So Christians in the first century were singing just like they used to when they were Jewish. And they were also composing new songs. They weren't limited just to the Psalms. Okay, this is a super fun quote on the bottom left. This is a picture of Pliny the Younger. He was governor of Bithynia, a biblical province. And he writes a letter to the Emperor Trajan in the year 112, complaining about the Christians. So this is what he writes to Emperor Trajan. These Christians affirmed, however, in their defense, that this was the extent of their fault and error, that they were wont to assemble on a set day before dawn and sing a hymn among themselves to Christ as God. And his quote kind of continues, and that they pledged themselves by vow, not to some crime, but that they would commit neither fraud, nor theft, nor adultery, nor betray their word, nor deny a trust when summoned. You can tell he's kind of confused by these people. After which, it was their custom to separate and to come together again to take food. Ordinary and harmless food, though. He just kind of ends there. He's describing the Christians, but their biggest fault from the communities around them is that they sang a lot. They would get together before dawn and sing hymns together. So this is, again, very early on. They were known as a singing people. That went on for a couple hundred years, and now we get into a period of history where there were many heretics, many problems in church history. A particular one was by a man named Arius. This is the Arian controversy. And Arius was pretty convinced that Jesus was not God, though he was a bishop and a teacher in the Christian church. He taught that Jesus was just a creature, a really good one, but just a creature. And that was vehemently fought by many other church fathers in the time, caused a big stir. How it is relevant to music is that Arius was a great songwriter. We can go to the next slide. He taught his flocks and promoted his teaching through songs. So even after he was banished as a heretic, his teaching still spread like wildfire, was still popular, was very hard to squeeze out of the Christians or people because he spread it through appealing hymns. And they often would walk in the streets singing these Arius' hymns as a nightly procession. I believe this is probably in a few cities. So to combat that, some of the big heavy hitter church fathers of the time also began to do things with music. John Chrysostom led counter processions in the same city, I believe, of people singing Orthodox hymns. So you'd have one people singing Arius and one person singing Orthodoxy, just passing in the night. A man named Hilary wrote catchy hymns also to combat these hymns, and he used Roman marching tunes. And then the really great Ambrose wrote not just hymns with the Roman marches, but he wrote them shorter. He wrote them kind of more memorable, more pithy. He became really famous for his hymns. And even when an Arian army was besieging the city, he would write hymns for his soldiers or people protecting him on the night watch. And that's how it strengthened and encouraged his flock as they were even fighting, physically fighting with Arians. So you see how a lot of this controversy played out in song. So not only was song dangerous for Arius' hymns, but it was also an amazing tool used by Chrysostom, Hilary, and Ambrose. But in the end, it was too dangerous. So there's a council called the Council of Laodicea. I believe it's 364. We're in the 4th century here. And they have this quote on the right side. Besides the appointed singers who mount the ambo and sing from the book, others shall not sing in the church. So those song was really powerful. It was just too dangerous, kind of like how they treated the Bible at that time. It was too dangerous for the common people to be trusted with. So it was banned. If you were not a trained singer singing the approved songs, everything was limited. So that's the end around this 4th century era. Everything was limited. If you were not a trained singer, it was limited to Latin. It was limited to official rituals and group settings. And for the vast majority of people, they could not enter into using song because they didn't know Latin or other things to touch the Lord. This is how things were for like a 1,000 years until the Reformation. Of course, this is broad brushing. There are written songs that come out. There were certain moments where people wrote songs just for their small community, but they were definitely the exception. Even the great pre-Reformation reformer John Huss was banished as a heretic for 3 heresies, one of them being that he advocated congregational singing. So he was killed because he wanted his congregation to sing in their own language together.
Well, that's the end of our section. You can learn more about a Sweet Savor Bible School on our website, link in the description. There you can find course descriptions and find out how you can join the next class. And for now, I'll say thank you. Thank you so much for watching. May Jesus bless you, and may we become a savor that is pleasing to our God.